Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama,
Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Again, everyone. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna, Hare Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami iti namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve, Gauravani Pracharine, Nivishesha Sunyavadi, Vaskatya Deshatarane. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, as we continue this divinely beautiful Leela, we will become increasingly aware of how Yasoda Mai, despite her firmness, is always overwhelmed with intense love for Krishna. Not knowing, not even caring to know who he is or how powerful he is. Her maternal affection eclipses everything. And although there was reason enough for her to desist in her attempt to try to restrain her boy, she refused to even consider such a possibility. It becomes evident that he, Krishna, or God, is so under the spell of her unselfish, eternal motherly love that for her sake, he knows himself as the child who anxiously looks here and there to see if she is on his track. And when she cautiously sneaks up on him, he runs for his life. So last night, we heard about that grand chase and how Krishna was quickly down from the grinding mortar and running as quickly as his little legs could go from his mother, who held a stick in her hand. And she was running after him, determined to catch him. And he was determined to escape. Seeing his mother's anger, Krishna burst into tears, then laughter, and then he just ran. A rainfall of flowers fell from her hair as she ran after him, calling, "Where are you going, O best of thieves?" And we heard also how he was afraid of the stick in her hand, and he was determined not to get caught. Yasoda, on the other hand, was determined to capture her wayward son. He ran like a baby rain cloud, carried by the wind in the sky path where all the clouds run. And then we heard how, thinking that she would not follow him to where there were usually many people, he ran outside the compound, thinking, Mother will not follow me here. But she knew that today everyone was busy and no one would be there. And so she hotly pursued him. And as long as he did not look back behind him, she could not catch him. But when, out of curiosity or fear, he turned his eyes slightly to see what she was doing, she managed to grab him. And he did not want to be caught, but she did not fail to capture him. Because of her determination, she was able to persevere until she became successful. And now she's caught him. For his good, she expressed her anger and disapproval, wanting to infuse good behavior into him. Her only concern was that one day his exuberance would cause him some harm. His mother forcefully placed his little, small, crying, sobbing lotus face before hers, as he tried his best to hide the ghee that covered his limbs. Yasoda said, "If you wish to steal from my house, then you must see the stick in my hand." Yasoda raised the stick, but she never ever thought of using it. And little Krishna, he cried and cried and cried. "You must not beat me! You must not beat me! Don't beat me!" And Yasoda, thinking that he shouldn't be too frightened, she put down the stick, but she chastised him very strongly with her words. She said, "O best of thieves with clever words, from now on I will not give you any butter. I will keep you locked in the house so you cannot go anywhere and play. You will not be able to see any of your friends. Although you are the son of the king of Braj, you play with monkeys and you have a nature like monkeys." And then, to give his mother some fear, he said, "If I am a monkey, then I will go to the forest and stay there." Oh, as we heard yesterday, this comment made his mother begin to worry. And she thought, a proud little boy like this just might do it. Since I'm alone and I cannot continue to pay attention both to the house and to this child, I must tie him up. And then she threatened him, saying, "O thief, whose graceful, restless eyes place a spell on everybody, I will tie you up, and do not think that you can stop me." As Yasoda was about to bind him, he became so angry that he breathed with a hissing sound, and he called out very loudly, "Oh Rohinima! Oh Balaram! Where are you? If you don't help me now, this woman will tie me up! Come, come, come quickly! Come!" Unfortunately, because Rohini and Balaram had gone to Upananda's place, his cries did not reach their ears. Rohini loves Krishna even more than Balaram, and hence if she had been present, she would have prevented Yasoda from her intended plan. Nevertheless, although she didn't hear this crying baby boy, the other women who were neighbors, they heard this sound. And they heard him being scolded, and they heard him crying, and they quickly came to see what was happening. And the sight of Krishna sitting there, covered in traces of ghee, made everybody laugh and surprised at the same time. There he was, the little thief who had regularly visited their houses, and when believing that he was unobserved, he had stolen their butter and sweets. And now, here he stood, caught. They gazed at him. And laughed, saying, "Has something happened at your house?" Seeing his mother standing by the grinding mortar, tightly holding his hand, and seeing him, his anxiety, his tears, his fear, his unwillingness, and his eyes rolling in anger, whilst helplessly, pleadingly turning towards his mother and seeking for help. And seeing the firm, stern look of determination on his mother's face gave rise to compassion in the ladies' hearts. Yet, at the same time, they had each had their own experience of his naughtiness. And thus they smiled at one another, knowingly, at last, the thief has been caught stealing in his own home. Looking at his mother, their eyes say to her, "You did not believe us, but today you have caught him red-handed." Yet they also know that Yasoda loves him so immensely. And it is her love that makes her so strict with him today. They also understand that she must punish him, regardless of the pain it may give her, or the compassion that they all feel for this sobbing child. Although both mother and son are exhausted from this great chase, Yasoda cannot allow herself to be influenced by the helpless look on his face, nor can she yield to her own fatigue. Everything must be done for his sake. Wishing to teach her small son a lesson, Yasoda removed from her hair a silk ribbon to place gently around his tender body and tie him to the mortar. But surprisingly, the silk ribbon was too short by the measurement of 2 fingers. So she carefully took another ribbon from her hair and she tied it together with the first one and then placed that around his body. And again she found that the combined ribbons were still 2 fingers too short. She was surprised, and the women were surprised. But Krishna was thinking, Mother Yasoda, full of maternal feelings, Krishna was thinking, today I cannot be bound because I must do my daily duty of stealing yogurt and playing with my friends. Unless I agree, there is no possibility that she can bind me. And therefore the rope remained 2 fingers too short. Mother Yasoda, full of maternal feelings for her son, was determined to teach him what is right and what is wrong. So she brought many ropes from the house, and when they were all tied together each time, she could not encircle the waist of her small son. This small distance has become as vast as Brahma's universe. Yasoda's gaze then fell upon the ladies who had come to see the fun, and she asked them to bring their fine silk ropes from their homes. She said, "O Vraj Gopis, I have no more ropes, so bring your ropes stored in your houses." One of the ladies brought rope, too short. Another lady brought her rope, tied together, still too short. They bring the most exquisite ropes, silk, soft but strong. And yet, how wonderful. Now, for them, they're feeling so much joy because they can serve mother and son together. So, the most precious things that they have in their homes, the most precious things are his. And thus, while Yasoda is busy trying to bind him, the swiftly running ladies attract other ladies who also come along with their children, bringing their ropes. And they too rejoice at the opportunity to have a closer look at him. They all gaze at him, sitting there, loudly crying, rubbing his eyes. And they all feel deeply for him, but they can hardly grasp what is taking place. Carefully and deftly, these ropes are tied together, and yet, again and again, they are 2 fingers too short. This shortness cannot be overcome. Now, it seems that all the ropes in Vrindavan have been joined together in a fruitless attempt to bind this wondrous child who is the master of the universe. Enjoying this scene, the ladies quietly laugh as they're watching this take place, while secretly tasting a special kind of joy in their hearts. Krishna does not want to be bound. So who can bind him? He sits crying in a gentle, sweet voice. And all his dear friends, like Subal, also quietly weep. Meanwhile, Yasoda is almost at the limit of her strength, and yet her enthusiasm does not yield. Her heart palpitates with her heavy breathing. Her hair is loosened, and her face is decorated with drops of perspiration. Tired and overwhelmed, her labors frustrated, she sits down to rest. Any other woman would have given up. Observing this wonderful incident, the elderly gopis try to relieve Yasoda's anxiety by saying, "Oh, Yasoda, you are the mistress of Vrindavan. You are the most blessed woman in the whole creation. A moment ago, you tied a small golden belt around Krishna's thin waist. But now you cannot bind him with all the ropes in your house. Despite the number of ropes you tie together, they always end up too short. We can see with our own eyes that nothing has changed with him. And yet these ropes cannot bind his tender body. His small waist is not getting any bigger. The rope is not getting any shorter. But still the rope cannot go around him. This is amazing. Something miraculous is happening here. There is some mystery. The long rope of joined pieces reaches all the way around your house, but not around the waist of your small child. With a gentle smile, they say, "O mistress of Braj, this thief's charming beauty enchants everyone. We told you previously that his enchanting power makes even the original thief of all thieves tremble by his great power of bewilderment. Have you fallen victim to his magic power?" Yasoda replied, "What does this foolish little boy know? He was born at the wrong time, and thus he does not know good from bad. But I think it is you who know magic tricks. You pretend to be indignant, but in your hearts you are favoring him. You have some secret magic power, and you are using it to prevent me from binding him. The ladies answer with a laugh. They say, no, we do not know anything about secret powers. O noble Yasoda, we bow down at your feet. To you, we solemnly swear we know nothing of bewildering magic tricks. Yasoda accepts their words, and it occurs to her that Gagarishi, who held her little child in his arms and gave him his name, had spoken of some divine power that would always be near this child. It is probably that which prevents me from binding him. This child does not know anything of it. This must be the work of the potency of the Supreme Lord that stops me from tying up my son. The elderly ladies continue, they say, as you cannot tie up his waist with all the ropes in your house, then it must be concluded that it is his good fortune and that he should not be tied. Listen, Yasoda, give up this attempt. Although advised in this way, Yasoda was insistent. Even if evening comes and I tie together all the ropes in this whole village, I must find out just once the extent of my son's waist. Looking at Krishna, still sitting, crying, she becomes even more determined in her resolve. He is my child. I cannot let him triumph today, or he will never obey me, and nor will he learn how to behave with dignity that befits the son of the king of Braj. Looking around, Yasoda demands more ropes to be brought, and with even more eagerness, she continues with her task. Because of his mother's hard labor, her whole body becomes covered in perspiration, and all the flowers have gone from her hair. Because of the strain, she is completely out of breath. She almost feels as if she's completely defeated by her child. But she will not give in. Even if it costs me my life, I must do everything I can, and I must bind him. With eyes filled with tears, he takes a glance at his mother, his beloved mother. She has reached her limit. Joyfully, she has taken the most extreme effort for his sake, because she loves him so much. He gives his consent. She may bind him. She did not hesitate to give all her strength. Only this kind of love can bind him. To be bound by her is so easy when he wants it. Now he becomes merciful and agrees to be bound. His mercy is the king of all shaktis, illuminating everything else. It melts the heart of the Lord as if his heart was made of butter. The ropes had been 2 fingers too short. His unwillingness to be bound made his Leela Shakti manifest infinity, or the boundlessness of time and space. So how could he be bound? How can you bind the wind? How can you bind infinity? But now his willingness to be bound has induced the Leela Shakti to become unmanifest. Krishna himself now shows his mother how only love can bind him. He was not willing to be bound until his mother herself exerted herself to the utmost, to the end of her strength. Only this kind of exertion evokes his mercy. The shortage of 2 fingers was filled by effort and mercy. The effort and the fatigue due to service, and the mercy of the Lord arising from seeing that effort and fatigue. Therefore, all those who wish to serve him on all levels must endeavor to their utmost, whilst also depending on his mercy. It is his mother's joy to be allowed to completely exhaust herself for his sake. And it is Krishna's joy to experience the strength of that love. And thus, giving up his childish stubbornness, he became bound in 1 second by the first 2 pieces of silken ribbon, and no other rope was required. Actually, he himself is the true bond of everyone. How can you bind up the one who for all eternity is the fullness of beauty and charm, and has bound everyone in Braj in an inseparable union with him? Although he instills fear in everyone through time and death, he flees in fear. Although he travels more quickly than the mind, he is caught by the strong grasp of his mother. Although he is condensed bliss, he cries in sorrow. Although he is all-pervading and everywhere, without any limits, he is limited by being tied up. In all these instances, Krishna is revealing directly to Yasoda his innate quality of being controlled by his devotees. It is through love, or prema, the essence of the Chit Shakti, that becoming controlled by the devotees arises and gives rise to the Lord's highest bliss. And here, the position of Yasoda is the greatest. What to speak of Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, or even the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, who is the Lord's constant companion in service. No one can compare to Yasoda. The possessiveness of Yasoda was not disturbed by anything. He is mine, and I must teach him right from wrong. She thought, Krishna fully depends on me. I must see to his welfare alone. Her love is so intense, and his mercy is so intense. What more can be said? Krishna belonged to her. Even Lakshmi did not attain the fame that Yasoda attained. Nobody else can tie him up. And now, after tying him up, Yasoda sternly rebuked Krishna some more. And then she called some boys and she engaged them to stay and guard him. And then, accompanied by all the ladies who had helped her, she happily went back into the house. All the blissful moods of spiritual love harmonize perfectly in Krishna's childhood pastimes. And what happens next is also super extraordinary. But you will have to wait one day and one evening and another day to find out more. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you.